share with you some tips on how to create a better Zoom experience for yourself and your meeting members. We'll talk about 4 elements that go into this that will create a better experience for all concerned. Because Zoom is so much like a news broadcast, we'd like to take some of the elements that go into a news broadcast and share them with you. They will be camera angle will be one, another will be lighting, another will be background, and another yet will also be audio and use of the mute button. Now before we begin, unlike a television broadcast, this is an internet broadcast, and we need to depend on as much bandwidth as we can to get out of our internet system. So it is recommended that you take all other devices that are using your internet at the moment and turn them off or disconnect them from the internet. That allows you maximum bandwidth for the meeting, so you will not have visual or audio dropouts on account of bandwidth issues. I also recommend that if you're not using your phone for the actual meeting, turn your sound off on your phone so when it rings, it doesn't distract you from your meeting. So let's turn off our phone, let's turn off our tablets, other computers. We can even turn off our email program on the device we're using, as well as our internet browser, because we will not need to use that bandwidth. We just want to use the pipeline that Zoom provides. With that in mind, let's get into the broadcast element of our Zoom experience. Let's start with camera angles. When you watch a news program, and we are so used to watching people on screens, you'll notice that they tend to look directly at the camera. On a Zoom experience, normally people are looking at the other people that are on their screen. So they're looking down over here at you and you and you and you. And what we fail to realize is when we are looking at what we think is looking at everybody else, we are in fact looking away from them. When we look at the camera, however, it appears that we are looking and talking directly to them. So we want to look at the camera. The camera in this case on my laptop is right here. It's not over here or anywhere else on my screen where everybody else's faces are. It's above them right there. Now, how do I get that camera angle to be level with my eyes? That's what we're looking for. We would like the camera to be at eye level. So as I look at the camera, I'm looking directly at you as if we're having a conversation. How do we do that? Well, we have to usually put it on a stand because we're used to using our laptop or our tablet or our phone or whatever it is we're looking at. We're looking down at it like this and we're manipulating it and so on and so forth. That's not what we're doing here on Zoom. On Zoom, we want to talk to somebody who's right there. So I took a box, put it on my kitchen table, put my laptop on top of that box, and now, lo and behold, my camera is at eye level with my eyes, and it looks as though I'm talking directly to you. Next, let's talk about lighting. In lighting, what we're looking for is the light up of our face and us to be the most important thing someone's seeing. When you're looking at your screen, the brightest light is what your eye is going to be attracted to. So if your face is the brightest thing on your screen, that's what everybody's going to see. We try to get a very even lighting. So that is lighting that's the same on this side as on this side. Without professional gear, it's a lot harder than it might appear, but with a little bit of imagination and a little bit of manipulation of what you have in your house or just picking the right spot will in fact help your lighting a lot. In this case, I have some lighting coming not from a window on this side of myself, and I will just show that light is very bright, but if I put the shade down, then it's almost even with the room lighting that's coming from this side. So I have side lighting, I have a little light from on top that gives me some dimension, and I'm the brightest thing you see in this picture. Some other things to note about lighting, and especially if you're wearing glasses. If I take off my glasses, you do not see any reflection. Well, that's good. If you can give your talk without glasses, well, do so. It's distracting to you and to them to have that reflection of your glasses. However, if you're reading something or you are used to wearing glasses and can't see without them, you should wear them. But note that your screen will reflect in them. I have turned the brightness of my screen down. I'm going to turn it up demonstrate how much more reflection we get in the glasses. And now I'm going to turn it back down. I'm using a MacBook Pro. I have about 5 dots left of my screen brightness. I can take it down one more. And that's as far as I can go and still see the screen. I am getting some reflection from this side, as you can see from the window there, but that cannot be helped. I can, of course, if I move or try to get a little bit different angle, I might be able to find something, but let's call that satisfactory. So what we really want to avoid is having a bright light behind us. Let me show you an example of that. When the bright light is behind us, our face gets completely into the dark. We look like a silhouette. This is a look we want to avoid. However, if you'll notice, many people have a very comfortable chair in front of a window, and they're talking, giving you their Zoom meeting, and this is what you see. They don't notice that they can't be seen, and all you can see is the bright light behind them. So, yes, we want to avoid silhouette at all costs. Even lighting across the front of our face as best we can with a little top lighting to give us some dimension. As best we can find that, and we want to avoid, if we can, any reflections in the glasses, which is pretty hard to do, but we'll give it a shot, and turning down your screen will in fact help. Now let's talk about backgrounds. Many people, of course, are doing their Zoom meeting from home. They're in their living room, they're in their wherever, their study, whatever room you happen to be in, doing this. And often you have a lot of pictures or paintings or perhaps other interesting things on your walls. That is not recommended for your Zoom meeting. The more stuff that's in the picture behind you, the more distracting it's going to be for your listeners and those other attendees of the meeting. I've hung a curtain behind me that's basically dark so that I will be the brightest thing seen, and as a matter of fact, the only thing seen in this screen window. And that will give me the most attention that I can draw from my Zoom members. So I would suggest you don't have to do a black curtain, but why don't you try to find a spot where there are the fewest pictures or fewest things of distraction. Bookshelves, you see it now on every late night talk show host or newscaster, but really, what do you do when you're watching that? You're wondering what books they have. I know you are. So if you, as a presenter on your Zoom meeting, don't want people wondering what books you're reading and want to hear what you have to say, then don't allow them the opportunity to see your bookcase. You may just want to find a spot where you can move a chair, where you have some appropriate lighting and very little distractive things on the walls behind you. And that's pretty simple. Just the simpler your background, the better it's going to be. And light might be better or dark might be better depending on your environment. Finally, let's talk a little about Zoom audio. We're used to talking on the telephone where we don't have to mute our end of a conversation. And we're used to talking usually to one person at a time, one person on the other end of the phone, not 20, 30, 10, 12, however many Zoom people we might have on our Zoom meeting. So what we want to do there is when we want to be heard, we want to unmute our microphone. But the rest of the time, we want our microphone muted. Because if we have 12 or 13, 40 people out there, and their mics are all on, we're going to hear all the background noises of everybody's room and place that they are, and we don't want that. It's too distracting. So when you are the host of the meeting, you have the choice to allow people to unmute themselves, and generally this is what we do. So you could start in that position. If it becomes a real problem, you can also just make yourself be the only one that can allow someone to unmute. Let's say we did it in the first sense, that is, the one where everyone can unmute themselves, but many people will just start talking with their microphone muted. They forgot that their mic is muted. They're used to a regular conversation. Everybody reminds them to unmute. How do you unmute? Well, you reach down in the lower left of your screen and hit the microphone icon that has a red line across it. When it has the red line, it's muted. When you press it with your cursor, then it goes away and you have an unmuted microphone and you can talk. But rather than reach down and search along on your screen and doing all that stuff, there's a simpler way. If you want to talk for a short period of time, you can press and hold down your space bar. That'll unmute your microphone for as long as that space bar is being held down. After that, you can let go and your mic's muted and you're safe to cough or do whatever it is you needed to do off mic. So basically, that's the main thing. You want to be sure that your audio can be heard and when necessary and not heard when not. Another question many people have is microphones and headphones. Do you want to use this type of headphone, which is the phone, typical one that may come with your phone? It has a microphone right here, and you have two speakers in your ear. The good part of this is your mouth is a lot closer to the microphone in this configuration. And that means we get a lot less ambient noise from our room. If you just use the computer audio, which I'm going to do. Now you can hear the microphone, and I am talking to you. You can still hear it, but it's very different, and there's a lot more ambient noise, and anything that happened in the room would be heard a lot more easily than it would be if we isolate it with a microphone closer to our mouth. Now, this is not necessarily a great look, so if you want to appear more professional, this tends to be a very relaxed look, and it tends to be a look that we accept. But it isn't the most professional look if that's what you're trying to achieve on your meeting. You may want to go with a built-in microphone or a different external microphone. But today, we're talking about simple solutions with things that you already have at home. But if you want to purchase a microphone that you can hook up to your computer, an external microphone, that's probably the best possible scenario. All right, well, now we've talked about what we want to achieve, and now we need to talk about, well, how do we achieve that? How do we know what we look like? How do we see the lighting? How do we see the background? How do we know if anyone's going to be distracted by anything we're seeing? Well, before you start your Zoom meeting, you want to turn on the software on your device, whatever device you're using. You want to go to the Zoom homepage. You want to click on the orange camera icon in the upper center left corner of your screen there. You want to tap that icon. That will open up what will look like a meeting, except that at that point, your camera and your microphone will still be muted. You want to unmute those, and that turns on your camera and allows you to see exactly what all of your audience members are going to be seeing. So you can change your lighting, you can change your background, you can do everything when you're looking at that before your meeting. You can also test your microphone to be sure that it's working. If you look in the upper left-hand corner of your Zoom screen, you'll see a shield. And once you click on that shield, it's a settings, it'll give you a drop-down menu of all kinds of different settings that you can change. One of those will be audio. You click on the audio section of that. There'll be a test microphone and a test speaker icons right there. You can check those boxes and check your microphone and check your speaker. That is how you can preset exactly the set and setting that you want for your Zoom meeting. Please turn that on, and then once you're set, you can turn that off. Then you can go to the link that's to your meeting. When you open that link, you are going to be exactly well set up for that meeting. Oh, that's our 4 elements today. I hope we've covered them, and I hope it'll help your Zoom meeting. Remember, for sure, to have camera angled. You want the camera to be right at your eye level, and you want to look into the camera, not down away and not at the screen when everybody's at everybody's faces, because you're looking away from them, and that's true. You want to have lighting that lights up your face or whatever else you want lit in the screen that you're showing, and you want it as even as possible and not really bright one side or the other or in front, and especially you do not want bright light behind you because it will make you go into black, basically, and you will not be seen, and the bright light will be very distracting. Now, in terms of background, I went ahead and I put a blanket behind me so that my audience or my members of my meeting are not distracted by what's behind me. This also makes me stand out more because it's dark behind me and I am the thing that's light, and your eye is attracted to the brightest part of your screen, which hopefully is going to be your face. and your message to them, whatever that is. We also talked about audio, and basically we want to unmute our microphone when we want to talk only. The rest of the time we want our microphone muted. Simplest way to do this is to press and hold our space bar for as long as we want to talk, and then let go, and we're back to being muted. All right, I hope that helps all of you. Have a great Zoom meeting. Bye-bye.